Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, do we have a podcast episode for everyone from our girl Lala. This video right here is just the part where she talks about Raquel on Bethenny Frankel's podcast. If you are interested in listening to the full podcast, there is a link in my description to that as well. I love that Lala literally cleared up everything I have been saying, commenting with you all in the comments, and just thinking. This is such a great podcast episode, and I cannot wait for you all to hear it. I'm going to leave my commentary for the end, so stay tuned for that. And make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell to be notified whenever I post a video or go live. Let's get into it.
All right, so by the way, today was supposed to be a Disney day. All right, I booked out. We had Stassi's podcast up and ready to go. And then Bethenny Frankel decides to come out with a 3-part podcast with Raquel. So in honor of her doing this, I did as much research as Bethenny Frankel did for that podcast, which was absolutely fucking none. I didn't listen to it. Seemed like a lot. I only listen to like my own podcasts or like murder podcasts, to be honest. So
As you should.
I only saw notes. Did you listen to it, Jess?
I did. I listened to all 3 parts.
Okay, I heard it was like 40 minutes of ads and maybe 20 minutes, or maybe I got that mixed up. And like 20 minutes of interview.
Yeah, it was frustrating. But
It was?
Yeah.
With the ads, you couldn't skip through them?
No, the interview was frustrating.
Okay, tell me why, because I didn't listen. I do have some notes, but just tell me what you gathered from listening.
She didn't do research, which was disappointing. Because it's like, it's one thing to be Howie. We love Howie. But like, yeah, Howie's not a Bravo guy. But then to be Bethenny, it's like she's in the world. I feel like she's a smart woman. She should have known, maybe she did know and didn't care, but what it would take, the research that she should have put behind this interview. She should have, Scandoval was huge. People went back and watched season after season. It was such a thing. And Bethenny was like kind of doing the research while she was interviewing Rachel. And there was there was a clear motive that Bethenny had, which is understandable. The reality reckoning, I want to hear about. Bethenny clearly, she had an agenda, and she kept bringing things back to like this reality reckoning. And it was like, that's great. Look, I want to hear all about that, Bethenny. And I want to hear what Raquel has to, or Rachel, whatever, what she has to say. I do, but it didn't work together. I want to hear, just because I don't agree with what she did, and I didn't agree with a lot of what she said, there are things that she talked about, mental health, emotionally, how she felt. I want to hear that. Dig deep. If you're going to come out and do an interview, tell us. Ask the right questions. And guess what else I want to hear about? Reality reckoning. If reality stars can get treated better or they're being treated unfairly, tell me about it. Tell me how we can help change the industry. But these two together did not work. It's like Bethenny wasn't asking the question. She kept bringing it back to like reality reckoning. I feel like Raquel was like, things weren't matching up that she was saying, and she maybe would have dug deeper if the right questions were asked. I think her and her team maybe thought it was going to be, I think maybe she got a little bamboozled and didn't realize that it was going to be such a Bethenny agenda. Anyway, it just didn't work together. It could have been a hit, and it wasn't.
It was a hit.
No,
a lot of people listen. It wasn't a hit. Like, it didn't hit, but it was a hit.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, people went and they listened, which, amazing. And I say all the time that there are going to be moments where our voice is all we have. We have all been able to go onto a platform, whether it's our own or someone else's, to share our side of any story, right? Raquel absolutely has that right. And I'm happy that she finally got to take advantage of a giant platform to tell her story. I only saw clips, and what I gathered from it was Bethenny completely exploited that girl yet again.
Which is the total, goes against everything she's preaching.
Exactly. To me, she sat there and said, you know what? This girl is going to be easy to manipulate because I'm Bethenny Frankel. She's floundering. She's going to be easy to manipulate. Her story is crazy, even though she brought it upon herself. And this is going to be the perfect way for me to place her in the narrative that I'm trying to create. It was actually really sad to me because I really liked Bethenny Frankel. I felt like everything she said always made sense. She was a great arguer. She was extremely intelligent, what she built. And then with this, it was like, we're all over the place, and I think someone needs to intervene because I don't even think you know what's going on with reality, not just reality TV. I don't think that reality television is for everybody. It is a very intense environment. If you are not mentally tough as fuck, it can break you. It definitely can. Now, to say that Raquel was the victim of something, I don't know. What I do know is you made a choice to sleep with your best friend. She says they weren't that close. Your best friend's partner of 10 years. Okay? You did not have to do that. No one was forcing you to do it. No one asked you to do it. I felt like Bethenny really tried to push her in a certain direction. And Raquel, being someone who, I don't know if she got a diagnosis from that facility or not, she's very easy to manipulate. And you put words out there and she's like, yeah, that's how I feel. And it's like, but you don't. You're being told to feel a certain way and you're being guided in a direction that I don't think is healthy for you. I don't know why anyone would allow her to do that interview.
She needs to take a lot of time. She needs to take 2 years for herself. She's vulnerable.
She's very vulnerable right now.
To, for her, in my opinion, just get away from all of it and restart your whole life.
Yeah.
I'm all about being a voice for the voiceless. But we're all grown-ass people who a contract is placed in front of us. We know the drill. We know what we're signing up for. We're signing up to show our real lives. And I remember going to producers saying something is not right and then thinking I was crazy. They're like, that's not happening. None of it was on TV. The hope was to get away with it. In my mind, and again, I was not there. In my mind, there was a solid plan that there was going to be a breakup that happened between Ariana and Sandoval, and then they would come out and say, we spent a lot of time together and we actually think that we have something more, and then everyone's hands would be clean, and it would seem like some flawless, segue into a new relationship.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's my opinion. I wasn't there behind closed doors.
The part about Graham was, I know I'm going to get heat for this, that was pretty upsetting to me because the things she was saying weren't adding up. She was like, making all these excuses and he bites and we did this and then this happened. Oh my God, you made all the wrong choices. The choices she was saying she was making, and then she was like, well, James isn't fit to be a dog dad. It's like you made a really you made a million awful choices, but you're saying this stuff with Graham and it's not adding up. And that was I don't know why it was so upsetting for me.
Well, it was very upsetting. And, there's two things happening on what I've seen, right? The clips, what I've read online. There's a piece that is about perspective, right? James is X, Y, and Z as a dog owner. Graham does this because of that perspective. Ariana and I weren't that close. Ariana says they were very close. Perspective. As an outsider, y'all seemed close, right? But it's all about everyone's point of view. There were things that she was then saying, and this is another reason why I didn't feel like I wanted to break down every single thing, because in my opinion, it's time for all of us to disengage, right? And let her go and live her life and hopefully continue the help that she needs. But there were things that she was then saying that were not perspective. It was, this is a flat out lie, and I can't imagine that you believe what you're saying. So this part says, the following day, Lala and Christina came into my hotel room. She's talking about the Oliver situation. And they were like, oh my God, Raquel, that was amazing last night. You were reality TV ratings gold. You killed it. Like, so funny. I can't believe you. You did it. You're the best. That never happened. Raquel that night, after she said, good thing you don't have a man, went to her bedroom, went to sleep. The next morning, when you guys see her come into our room and she sits down and feels embarrassed, that was the first time we had seen her. There was no, we came into her room, told her she was reality TV ratings gold. And this never happened. And this is not perspective, this is fact.
Yeah.
No one ever said this to you. Ever. Okay? Cut to the next thing. Raquel says when she considered returning for season 11, that she asked for equal pay with Tom and Ariana and asked the network to reimburse her for her treatment. I'm not going to speak about asking for reimbursement for the treatment. I don't know. That doesn't affect me. Day oneers are always going to make more than you make, okay? That's just how it works. So there was no way that she was going to come in here and think that she was going to be rewarded with a paycheck. And Bethenny can say whatever she wants.
And that's why I think she was, like, that's why I could see
rewarded with a paycheck for what you did, because that's not how this works, okay? No matter what you do, the pay is the pay, all right? Send it to Daryl. The next thing she says is that I purchased my home with send it to Daryl money, and I stole the house out from under Brock.
That I laughed. I laughed at
But
that.
this is what I mean. This is where it's like, okay, share your perspective on things. But once you start combining your point of view with things that are blatant lies, you are getting a muddy situation. No one can trust what you're saying. And the only reason I knew about the home was because Barack called me and said, you got to get to Palm Springs today. The house next door is for sale.
I remember the day. They were like, get down here now. You and your mom had to literally get in the car and drive that day because Scheana and Brock was like, you got to get here now.
Brock and Scheana were next door while I traveled for 2 hours, buttering up the owners, being like, my friend wants this house. So what are you talking about? And I did not purchase the home with Send It to Daryl money. Okay? Send It to Daryl didn't exist. I bought the home. My business manager was like, La, I really don't want you to buy this. You want a home in LA, and this is going to make it so that, like, your budget is not as big for your home in LA. And I said, fuck the LA home. I want this house. I'm getting it. I need a retreat. So I bought it. Cut to, because my team, they're very conservative because they know I like my money and I don't want to go broke anytime soon or ever. So I told him I'm just going to have to work a little bit harder. However many days go by and he sends me a message and says, what the fuck is this money that just came in about merch? And I said, let's fucking send it to Daryl. Just made up for the house and then some. Okay? So I didn't buy the house because I got send it to Daryl money, and I didn't say, ooh, Brock wants this house. And why would he want the house next door? He's got a house.
Right.
And he was over the moon because you were going to be there with Ocean and, like, then Summer. Oh, that was such a weird, and
even if Brock had the money,
yeah,
he wouldn't buy it.
that was a concerning
Right.
thing.
He would have called you a sill and
Yes.
done the same thing he did.
It was a concerning thing for her to say because I knew, okay, she didn't misunderstand anything. No one told her this. So this is just a blatant lie. And that's when it got, like, a little concerning. It's not like Brock was like, well, I was going to buy it. No, that's why I was like, when I heard that, I, like, laughed. And then I'm like, oh, she's just, like, making stuff up. I don't understand what's happening.
She's just throwing shit on the wall, seeing what
And
sticks.
seeing what sticks. I don't know if people told her this. My thing with her is she talks about, I want to get it right. I think the most disturbing thing is when I sent out the cease and desist from my litigator to all of the cast to not share the video that was taken without my consent, Lala decided to use that and be like, oh my God, don't contact me directly. Contact my attorney, Daryl. And then she started making these sweatshirts that said, send it to Daryl. I guess that was enough for a down payment on the Palm Springs house. Raquel could have made merch. Raquel could have done a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I made money because I say funny shit.
Off of what you said out of your mouth.
Right. And by the way, I didn't even think it was that funny. But then I see Bravo fan pages creating Daryl merch, and I'm like, no, this is something I said. So I'm going to make the merch, and y'all are spelling his name wrong, so I'm going to also
Do it
fix
correctly.
that as well. For her to say, like, everyone capitalized off of this, you could have too. You could have made shirts that said, Captain, still your man. I don't give a damn. I'm about to bang your man. You could have made sweatshirts that said, good thing you don't have a man. Hello. I would have bought that.
Yeah?
That would have been funny if you bought that and were wearing it around. Yes.
There were so many things. You can't be upset when people decide to make moves and capitalize on a moment that's never going to come around again. I got bills to pay. I did a funny rant. And guess what? It hit. I deleted it 9 minutes later, and it still hit. That's not disturbing. That's called being a smart person. And what angers me the most is she was so many people's favorite. And she had such a brilliant idea about this like line she wanted to start. And I was like, I have an amazing place that could help you get that started. Fabrics, different designs, textiles, whatever, you name it. Like, let's do this. And you chose when you were at a crossroads, you could have gone one way or the other, and you decided to go the other. And the only person to blame is you. You can point the finger all day long. The ultimate decision was up to you. And I don't feel that she is someone who fully understands, like, consequences, the way you move. Like, to say that it's disgusting that Graham is being used as a storyline. Bitch, what are you talking about? We're filming our real lives.
You gave him
You gave
up.
your dog up. James was called. It's happening during filming. We are filming our real lives.
She said she thought that happened as to try and entice her to come back on the show is what I heard. So I was like, huh.
It's a travesty that she didn't end up coming back because I'm not going to say too much because we're in production. She should have come back. I think she would have been very surprised. And instead, she went and did this. She was manipulated yet again by someone who says they hate Bravo. Well, it's sure paying your bills still.
Yeah.
Like, what even is Skinny Girl? Like,
Yeah.
all I know you for now. Like, what is Be Strong? What is Skinny Girl? All the things I looked up to. Now I look at you as like some girl who's like, I hate Bravo. And every other day you're talking about Bravo and bringing and exploiting Bravo celebrities. I'm allowed to do that because I love Bravo.
Well, I just have to say, number one, two things I got out of that. Number one, I hope to God Bethenny paid Raquel for that interview.
I bet she didn't. And then when people started saying, like, making comments about that, she probably did.
Okay. And number two, I think Raquel is probably most upset about not being in the Uber One As Good As Gold commercial. Let's be honest. That was a hit.
That song did slap.
Was that in the same time?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like, yes.
Okay.
Everything started popping off when our show became very, very well known.
And she said she brings you, Bethenny said, did anyone reach out to you? And Lala said, she said, yeah, Lala did. She didn't give an opinion on it. She just said Lala DM'd me or texted me and said, I'm here if you need an ear or something. So that was something she said about you. She didn't say she loved it. She didn't say she hated it. She just stated it and moved on. They moved on. Mm-hmm.
Enough about that. Again, I do want to say Raquel is who she is. I think everyone needs to put their weapons down, let her go and do what she needs to do. She's clearly got Bethenny Frankel guiding her, and I think you just keep them at bay. You don't want the smoke. Once things start getting a little too hyphy, it's like, oh. It's like if someone comes at you flailing their arms, you're like, oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Not flailing their arms.
The flailing arms. I'm happy that the silver lining is Raquel got a chance to have her voice heard. We all deserve that right. Even if you didn't like what she said, we all get that right to use our voice.
Amen.
Anyway, the relief of the week is that Send It to Daryl was being mentioned on the #1 podcast in the world. Just Be.
Send it to Daryl. ShopLalaKent.com.
No, I was thinking about it. I was like, damn. They just talked about Send It to Daryl. And then she posted #1 podcast in the world. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
And you linked the merch in your story.
Hell yeah, I did. Obviously. You usually have to pay for spots like that.
I know.
All those people, all those ad spots had to pay. Not me. I was all up in her mouth for free.
Like a dentist.
Amazing. Anyway, I'm so happy that we got to come in and record this because I felt like there was time-sensitive content. So I hope you enjoy the episode. I'm going to head to Disneyland with my boo-boo. Happy hump day. Stay safe. And I will catch y'all next week with Stassi Schroeder. I'm going to get ready because we're going to Disneyland. Are you excited?
I'm a walking.
You're a rocket man?
No, I'm a walking boy. I'm a walking boy. I'm a walking boy.
So what do you think of the podcast? Let me know down below. Now, here are just some of the points that I want to talk about that Lala discussed in this podcast. The convo Rachel says happened during the girls' trip never happened. I do believe Lala is not lying there when she says this. She is the type of person that she will tell it like it is, and that is it. And I do believe Rachel was lying about that. Lala mentions about how Rachel talked about Graham and how she kind of talked in circles and didn't understand how she could say that James was a bad pet parent. I completely agree. She also discussed the whole pay increase. Now, Lala said pretty much what I've been saying, as well as what even Bethenny said, which was in her Aftermath episode. If you did not see that, it's here on my channel as well, that there was entirely no way she was going to make the same amount as someone that's been on the show from day one, which makes complete sense. As I've been saying too, I have seen and also posted the Amazon Lives here on my channel, where I even believe in one of Scheana's blogs, it talks about the Palm Springs house. But, again, Rachel got this wrong as well, which I knew from the moment she said it, that Brock was the one who called Lala, and Scheana and Brock were the ones to let her know that the home in Palm Springs was for sale. With Lala, she tells it like it is, and that's why some don't like her. But she even points out the timeline where Rachel said she bought the home from all the Save the Daryl merch. That's not true either. Lala bought the house first, then capitalized off the Save the Daryl merch stuff. And yes, that did help after all. And I even love my hoodie. It's an amazing freaking hoodie. And I don't blame her for 1 second not capitalizing off of that. I think Lala says it perfectly for exactly what I've been thinking and saying when she talks about how Rachel could have done the same too and capitalized off of this. But she chose not to. Yes, she has her reasons, but she has no reason to complain about it because she totally could have done it too. And like I said, and I know Lala has said this too, her going and working on herself is not a bad thing at all. It's a great thing. But she cannot complain about what others are doing, making smart business moves, just because she didn't. I also agree with how they aren't using Graham/Hippie for a storyline. This all happened during filming, and if you think that the production crew isn't going to capitalize on this, then you're wrong. She was the one who gave Graham away during this time period, so this just happened to fall during filming. And this is what's going on in their real life. Jess actually mentions how she said it was to entice her to come back. And Lala said she should have come back. And she thinks that she's been manipulated again by Bethenny, and I honestly agree. I actually seen this amazing video about the whole reality reckoning where they talked about the papers that were served to Bravo, and they actually talked about the whole Bethenny clause and how that all came about and how she started it. But they also talk about how she has produced shows and how different people that were supposed to be a part of these shows tried to actually put in clauses in their contracts, and Bethenny would not let them. And it's like, but Bethenny, your whole like shtick is this Bethenny clause, and here you are not allowing people to add that into their clause. And I think one of them even said like she would get a percentage of the profits of already their current businesses and then future endeavors for 11 years. That is just insane. So for someone, so much for this clause and getting these actors the things in this movement, she actually does the same things that Bravo was doing as she was doing when she was producing different shows. It's an amazing video by Study Break, which I will link down below for you all to check out. I think Lala was completely right when she said she thinks that Bethenny did not pay Rachel, and then when people started to say something, she did. I think that is absolutely true. And I totally agree. I think Rachel was totally jealous that she was not part of that Uber Gold's commercial. I totally think that. And I agree, of course, with Lala that she said that everyone deserves to tell their story. And I do believe that Rachel got her chance. And that's a great thing that she was heard. Though I don't agree with a lot of things that she had said, everyone deserves to have their story told. The truth on things will always come to light, regardless. And we just need to know she clearly lied about things and twisted stories to help her narrative. And as Lala also said, you just keep her at bay and you stay away and let her do her thing. And I completely agree there. What do you guys think about this podcast episode? Let me know down below in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you hit that notification bell, you will be notified every time I post a video or go live. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye, everyone.